Welcome back to another What I Watched in the Last Month video, and this is for the month of November. It's officially December, so happy holidays. This list is going to be an interesting mix of movies that are Christmas related, but also Halloween related, because November is that weird in-between month between October and December, and like I'm still not 100% over Halloween, but then like Christmas is coming in. I typically will spend the beginning of November still kind of like watching Halloween movies and still in the Halloween vibe, but then I'll end November with like Christmas stuff to get me in the spirit. And as you can see, I already got I have my pink Christmas tree up next to me. So I'm totally in the Christmas vibes right now, but took me a while to get here. But speaking of Halloween vibes, the first thing I wanted to talk about on my list is Wednesday, which just came out on Netflix. It is a 2022 comedy horror series that is directed by Tim Burton. It's only 8 episodes. It's starring Jenna Ortega as Wednesday Addams. It's like the Addams family, Tim Burton, but also like Harry Potter. If they all like met up, and this is what they would get. Also, Danny Elfman does the music, which I thought is very appropriate. And this is definitely more focused on Wednesday and her experience at the Nevermore Academy, which is like a different version of Hogwarts, basically. This is a school where there's 4 different cliques or houses, kind of similar to like a Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw and all that stuff, but instead it's like fangs for the vampires and like furries for the werewolves. It's a school for the outcasts, and then they call normal people the normies. And Wednesday finds herself in this school because she's obviously not normal. I thought Jenna Ortega as Wednesday was awesome. I loved everything about the show. I thought it was such a perfect, quirky, like witty, but spooky vibes, but also like Harry Potter. I don't know, it was everything I love. Also, Christina Ricci, who is the original Wednesday, well, not the original, but like the second original Wednesday Addams, is in it as well. And she plays a character that you'll find out more about if you watch it. Catherine Zeta-Jones plays Morticia, and I thought this was such a fun time. We binged watched it maybe over a course of 2 to 3 days. It's only 8 episodes, so it's really easy. And it's actually kind of a mystery. Like the show format is kind of a mystery because they're trying to figure out who this monster is, and there's a lot of like history to it, and I loved everything about it. I thought it was great. Obviously, she's very monotone, she's very sociopathic, I guess you would say. They just did such a great job with having you still fall in love with her and just want to keep seeing her on the screen. I really do hope they come out with a season 2 because I will definitely be watching. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Disenchanted, which also came out this month. It is on Disney Plus right now, and it is the sequel to Enchanted. And this movie kind of focuses on what happens after the happily ever after in a fairy tale like Enchanted. This movie felt very similar to Hocus Pocus 2 in the sense that, of course, I love seeing Amy Adams and everyone be back into their characters, and they're all now in like their 50s, and they look amazing and they did a great job, and in that aspect I enjoyed it. But it is an unnecessary film that is kind of dumb. Basically, Giselle wishes for life to be a fairy tale, and then her wish ends up backfiring on her because she becomes the evil stepmother to her stepdaughter, which I did like that aspect of it, and I thought that was a cool idea. But this movie just like had too many songs, in my opinion. Basically, it's a musical, which I didn't go into it expecting that. I did like the songs in Enchanted, and I liked that they had some musical numbers, but this was like way too many musical numbers in my opinion. Disenchanted is way more of a musical than Enchanted, and you know, some people might love that. I just thought there was too many songs. It's good enough if you're a fan of Enchanted because you'll enjoy just the fact of seeing everybody back again in the film. So there's that. Speaking of musicals, another film that came out this month is called Spirited. It's a 2022 musical comedy starring Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and is another adaptation of A Christmas Carol or the Scrooge kind of movies. There's so many different versions out there of A Christmas Carol and the Scrooge concept that this is definitely not an original concept at all. But there was a nice twist to this that I did appreciate. I guess like they took a different avenue than other films I've seen take. Plus, it's way more of a musical. There's like singing and dancing and everything in it. Ryan Reynolds is his typical snarky character he always plays in every single film. And Will Ferrell plays a character slightly different than I've seen him in other films, or I guess what I was expecting him to be. And I enjoyed it. I think it's great for the Christmas time if you're a fan of musicals, if you're a fan of Christmas movies and you're looking for something festive and new. Spirited is a decent option, especially if you have Apple TV. Another Christmas special that you can watch this month is Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special that's currently on Disney Plus. It is actually only 45 minutes, I believe, so it's a very short, like almost like a mini movie. It features the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, and basically Star-Lord is sad because he wants Christmas, and they decide that in order to give him Christmas, they will give him Kevin Bacon. It's so silly. There's also music. I mean, not like a musical, but there's original music in the film, which I did appreciate. And I think it was, for 45 minutes, it's perfect. It's cute, it's easy watch, and something festive that you cannot say is bad. I thought it was good. Going along with the Christmas spirit, we've got Falling for Christmas. This is a new Netflix film that just came out starring Lindsay Lohan, which is awesome because I have not seen Lindsay Lohan, of course, for a very long time in a film. So it was kind of cool to see her in this like Hallmark Lifetime style Christmas movie. Again, it is a Hallmark Lifetime style Christmas movie, so it's not good. She gets in a skiing accident and ends up getting amnesia, and then she falls in love with the cabin owner, and he has a daughter, and it's just dumb. It's not good, and I liked it. I liked it knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. I knew it was gonna be a really bad, dumb movie, and that's exactly what it is, but it has the Christmas spirit, and it has Lindsay Lohan, and to me, that is good enough for a good time. I also watched another Netflix Christmas movie called Christmas with You that also just came out, and it's about a pop star who's looking for inspiration to write a song. Freddie Prinze Jr. is in it, and he's the dad in this movie, and it, you know, you see, this one I thought was worse technically than the Lindsay Lohan one, although probably Lindsay Lohan is probably worse, but I enjoyed at least seeing Lindsay Lohan. If you're looking for a cheesy, romantic Christmas movie that has anything to do with music, musicians and stuff like that, writing a song, you might enjoy it. So I really want to talk about The White Lotus, season 2. It just came out, 2022, HBO Max. A new cast is visiting another White Lotus resort, and it's featuring different couples, various families, and different people than the first season, except Jennifer Coolidge is back in season 2. She was also in the first season. Aubrey Plaza is also in this season. There are a ton of great characters. There's so much drama happening. It's currently still going. It's not done yet. Every Sunday an episode gets released. It's been so good. If you have not given The White Lotus a chance, first of all, season 1 is awesome. I could definitely vouch for that. Season 2 is proving to be just as good so far. We will see. This season almost has potential to be even better than the first season. So I definitely think it is worth watching if you have not given it a chance. White Lotus is such a good show. Another show I want to mention is called Inside Man. It's a 2022 series on Netflix, and it has gotten some mixed reviews, but I personally loved it. Stanley Tucci plays a prisoner on death row who can solve cases, and there's a woman who's trapped in a cellar, and there's a priest who does really bad things. It's a really good drama thriller. It's only 4 episodes, so it's really easy to get through. I personally liked it a lot, but I've heard people say that they didn't like it at all, so I don't know. You tell me if you've seen it, what you thought, but I thought it was great. I don't know. I thought it was super entertaining and so easy to binge watch it, like in literally, I think we watched it in 2 nights, like 2 episodes a night. But I could see how easy this is to watch in just one day, like just go binge on a Sunday. Another show I really wanted to mention that we started watching this month is called Girls. We just finished it like literally a few days ago. It is on HBO Max. There's 6 seasons. It started in 2012 and it ended in 2017. And it's directed by Lennon Dunham, who is also the creator and the writer and the star of the show. And this is basically about 4 girls living in New York City. It's basically Sex in the City, except take away the glamour of Sex in the City. It's more ugly and raw and real, but also really funny, very sarcastic, very millennial. It's about a bunch of privileged white girls who live in New York City, so you know, I guess I can relate to some aspects of them, but they are also all such horrible characters, and they're very unlikable sometimes, and at the same time, this show is so good. Adam Driver is probably the main reason we watch the show, but then you start to actually enjoy every single character and you start to really appreciate all the comedy, and there's such witty, smart dialogue going on between everyone, and all the characters have something to offer comedy-wise. Again, they're all such horrible people sometimes and so mean to each other as friends, and they're all so selfish and narcissistic. There's so many cringy moments in the show where you're just so embarrassed for the characters, and there's just something uncomfortable but so smart and clever about the show. I love it. If you have watched Girls, please let me know who's your favorite character. I think I'm Team Jessa when it comes to my favorite person in the show. Of course, Adam. Now I feel like watching every movie that Adam Driver's in because I love him. I love him. Next up, we have Don't Worry, Darling. It just came out on Redbox and it's directed by Olivia Wilde. It stars Florence and Harry Styles. And let me tell you, everybody was talking so much about how bad of an actor Harry Styles was. And I don't think he was that bad at all. I don't know why everybody's being such a hater. I was so curious about this film. I almost watched it in theaters. There was just so much talk about the film and I just wanted to know what the heck is this film gonna be like. This film is a mix between Stepford Wives, Pleasantville, Midsummer, Suspiria, and Clockwork Orange. Little bits of, just take those things and just, you get this film. It's weird and it's confusing, but I think it's in a good way and I liked it. I can just see how this is a film that people can just feel so differently about, and I personally enjoyed the experience because I like films like this, but I also was not impressed or thought it was anything. I don't think it was worth seeing in theaters, so I'm glad I didn't see it in theaters, and I don't think I would probably want to rewatch it, but I think it was pretty decent. The next film is called Pearl, and this one just also came out on Redbox. It is a horror slasher starring Mia Goth. This film is connected to the film X, which came out earlier this year, and I did really enjoy that film. This is basically a prequel to X. So this is another A24 Ty West directed film, and it is about Pearl, who is the old lady in the movie X. Okay, so if you don't know or if you haven't seen X, Mia Goth plays a young girl in the movie, but also she plays an old lady named Pearl. And then this movie Pearl is about the old lady, and it's Mia Goth playing her, of course, as a young person. I'm assuming they filmed both films around the same era. The fact that they were able to bring out both films in the same year, you never hear about a prequel to a movie that just came out this year. But Pearl wants to be a dancer in the movies, but she's very repressed and deeply disturbed, and I loved it. I actually think I like Pearl more than X, which I did really like X, so that's saying a lot. I think Pearl is one of the best horror movies I've seen this year. Another film I just recently watched that I was really anticipating watching in theaters during the Halloween month, but didn't get around to it, is Smile. And this is a film that I was just very curious about because there was so much talk around it, and people were making it seem like it was so scary. We finally watched it the other night. It is available to rent on Amazon Prime, and I do think that they had some good creepy parts to the movie, but overall it is definitely not that scary to my opinion, and nothing special. It is pretty basic popcorn horror, if you know what I mean by that. I didn't find it to be anything completely out of this world, unique or special. The main actress was great. The creepy smiles were great, but it's just felt kind of basic, and I'm kind of glad I didn't see it in theaters. For me, Smile is an easy watch in the sense that it doesn't really require you to like think too much. It's not very complicated or has a bigger message or anything like that. It's just kind of like exactly what it is, and it's a lot about the jump scares, and there are a lot of good jump scares in it. So if you like jump scares, I think it's good for that, but I don't think it offers anything special. The next film is The Invitation. This is a 2022 horror mystery that is currently available to rent on Redbox, and it's about vampires. It sounded to me tempting and also at the same time kind of like bad. A long lost cousin invites the main character to a wedding in the English countryside, and vampires, they happen. Rotten Tomatoes, I got a 26%. I would give it like about a 30%. It's not anything special. I still enjoyed it. I just don't like when you call something a horror and it's not a horror. This was definitely not a horror movie at all. I wish I had gone into it knowing there'd be less horror and more romance involved. If you like romantic vampire movies that have just a little pinch of horror in it, think True Blood or Vampire Diaries or Twilight, I think then you could enjoy it. But I just kind of went into it expecting more, so for that I wasn't impressed. Next show I wanted to talk about is the one that takes the award for making me cry this month. I'm pretty cold when it comes to TV shows and movies. I don't get affected emotionally very often, and I don't cry very easily. but when you make a show about cancer, it's bound to happen. It's called From Scratch, and it's a 2022 Netflix drama series. It stars Zoe Saldana. I've never said her name out loud before. It's about an American student who is studying in Italy and falls in love with an Italian boy, and then cancer, okay? That's all you need to know. Cancer's involved. It is very sad. It doesn't start sad. It takes maybe 4 or 5 episodes to really get going in that aspect. Like, it starts off with them falling in love and then the marriage and all the stuff, you know, and it kind of really builds their relationship little by little. You see all the troubles they go through with their families, and then after all that, cancer shows up, and then it's like the last 3 or 4 episodes is just grief. And I don't know if I could say I enjoyed it. Sometimes you need a good cry, and you need it to not be about your own life. So I don't know, there's something therapeutic almost about it, and it was an overall beautiful story and message behind the show, and the love story is, it's just sad. I don't know if I can suggest sad things. If you're looking for a good cry, From Scratch. Okay, so now my list is full of a bunch of random old horror thriller films that we saw earlier in November because we were still in the Halloween spirit. A lot of these are late 90s, early 2000s. I wanted to start off by talking about The Others. I've been so curious about this film for so long, and the reason why is because if you type in The Others online, you cannot find it streaming anywhere. And this isn't just this year. It's been like 2 years or more that I've been aware that every time I search for The Others, I can't find it anywhere. The only way to watch it is if you actually buy the DVD. And I went on eBay, I got fed up with not being able to watch it, and I bought the DVD. Now I get to watch The Others every single year. I will be watching it because now I can. I can't believe that it's nowhere to be found. I find that ridiculous. But it is a 2001 horror thriller, and it stars Nicole Kidman. It is such a perfect November film. I don't know how to explain that, but like, it's just like, it's a good November film. The film is very dark, like physically dark, like visually. Nicole Kidman's character lives alone in this giant house with her 2 kids, and she is trying to protect her kids from the sun because they have a photosensitivity disease. So they have to stay away from the light, and she has to keep the house very dark. And then she hires 3 helpers, and basically she starts seeing ghosts, and there's a very good plot twist at the end of this film that I was not expecting. And I thought it's good enough to rewatch every single year from now on. Somewhere between October and November. Probably November, because I'm convinced it's a November film. And unfortunately, if you're very curious and you want to watch it, maybe if you live in Miami, let me know, I could let you borrow the DVD. Next up, we have Urban Legend, and this is a 1998 horror slasher that has Jared Leto in it. A very young Jared Leto. And this is a movie about a killer who is killing people based on different urban legends. This film is the epitome of a 90s horror slasher. There's so many like late 90s college horror films, and this is one of them. I'd never seen it, and I thought it was fun. I liked the urban legend thing. I like seeing young Jared Leto, and I liked the college campus 90s vibes. Next we have The Skulls, and this is a 2000 thriller that has a young Paul Walker in it. Just a little eye candy for you. Another college-based horror. It's about like a college Ivy League secret society that's called The Skulls. The secrets behind the secret society, and the skulls are, they've got secrets. I mean, I can't say anything about it except for the fact that it has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I find very rude. It is not that bad. It's not that good, but it's not a 9%. Maybe a 20, maybe a 30 even. It's okay. It's good for what it is. Next we have Disturbing Behavior. This is the 1998 horror sci-fi that is actually on HBO Max. This one is about a high school, so that's a little different. And it's about a clique called the Blue Ribbons. It stars Katie Holmes and James Marsden, a young James Marsden. Yet Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 33%, so that's why you can't always trust the ratings. because I would have given this one closer to a 10%. I am excited about the next film though. It's called May, and it is a 2002 horror drama that is currently free on Tubi, Pluto TV, and the Roku channel. And it stars Angela Bettis, who plays May. It also has Anna Faris in it, a young Anna Faris. It's about a girl who has a lazy eye, and she's very awkward and socially uncomfortable and weird, and I can't really tell you anything else besides that. She goes a little crazy and I liked it. I thought it was so like up my alley of like strange horror films that are like quirky, and I don't know, just it's a weird one, so just be warned. The next film is The Village, and yes, this is a rewatch because I've obviously seen The Village before. It is a classic. It's a 2004 horror thriller starring Bryce Dallas Howard, as well as Joaquin Phoenix and Adam Brody. It's about an Amish-style community that lives cut off from the outside world. They believe they cannot go into the woods because of dangerous creatures. And this film, I know a lot of people love to hate it. I honestly hadn't seen it in such a long time. I probably watched it back in like closer to 2004. I really think this movie is so good. I even had a moment where I got emotional in this film, and I felt a lot of things. This film was able to do that to me, and I think it deserves more respect for being a classic. Everybody like wants to hate on the plot twist, or I love the ending. I think it's a great film. Let me know, are you team The Village is great, or are you team like The Village sucks? Next up we have You're Next, and this is a 2011 horror thriller that is currently free on Peacock. It is a home invasion style thriller, but the bad guys are messing with the wrong person, basically. I love a film where the female lead is a badass, and you definitely get that in this film. It has a 79%. I would also give it an 80-something%. It is actually very good. I had never seen it before, and I'm surprised. Next we have The Day After Tomorrow. Again, this is a rewatch. 2004 action sci-fi starring Jake Gyllenhaal, a young Jake Gyllenhaal. This is one of those apocalyptic end of world films, and when I watch it I feel cold. I don't know how to explain that, but like it makes you feel like winter is coming, so it's actually a good November film. Even though I live in Miami and there's no such thing as winter is coming, you know, there's no snow or anything or cold coming, but like when I watch the film I feel like, yeah, like I get cold because there's so much coldness in this film. I remember seeing it in theaters back in 2004, and I don't think I have seen it since then, so I still enjoyed it. The last thing I want to talk about is Key and Peele. This is on Netflix. It is a comedy show. It's mostly skits, and they're so funny. And if you don't know, Jordan Peele, the director for Get Out and Us and Nope. So that's where I know him from. I mean, I didn't know him as a director. I knew him from Key and Peele, and I love that Netflix has all the episodes on there. I think all these seasons are on there. Maybe not all the seasons are on there, I'm not sure. Their skits are just so funny, and I feel like they're the best thing to put in the background just to laugh, you know, have a good time. But yeah, that's everything I watched in November. I'll definitely be watching a lot more Christmassy things in December, so expect that. And then we shall see what the new year brings when it comes to movies and TV shows and all that stuff. Let me know what you watch in November. Let me know what you're looking forward to in December. And if we are on the same page about any of the things I mentioned, or are we in totally different point of views, I like to hear all that. So please comment down below and let me know. If you did get this far into the video, then thank you, and toodaloo.